Hi there, it's Julia from airfocus, and this is part 6 of getting started with airfocus. In this video, you will learn about feedback management in order to understand your users' needs and solve the right problems. You will learn how to capture, centralize, and organize your feedback all in one place. How to turn valuable feedback into insights and include customer insights when prioritizing problems. So let's get started and dive into it. In order to get started with feedback management, we suggest you create a dedicated feedback workspace. The reason behind this is that feedback has a different workflow than items that you might already have on your roadmap. So let's do this by adding a new workspace. And you can choose from our feedback management workspaces. We have 2 templates available. This one would be a multi-workspace template that includes 2 workspaces to gather and centralize feedback and also to create insights to your opportunities. And this one is one single feedback and insights workspace. So if you have your other workspaces set up already, please choose the feedback and insights workspace. Once you use and create this template, you will be left with a feedback workspace that would look something like this, with some sample items in here already. Now, currently, what we see here is a view that we haven't yet discussed in our views video. The views video is part 3 of getting started with airfocus. If you want to learn more about views, please jump to part 3 where we explain all the views. Now, let's talk about the inbox view. As the name already says, this works like an inbox where you have your statuses to the left. By the way, you can also customize these statuses. They are being pulled from a field that you have available in your workspace settings. So if you would like to change that, please go to your workspace settings, go to fields, and the status field would be the one that defines your statuses here to the left. So you can change the options, you can delete the options, and you can customize them. Currently, we have new, open, closed, assigned to me, and all. In this inbox, you will find all the feedback that has been submitted. Now, how does the feedback get in here? That is the question. There are different ways of how feedback can arrive in this inbox. So let's talk about the first one. The first one would be adding feedback manually by clicking on Add Feedback on the top right corner. This would be the case, for example, if product design or the product team has user calls and they want to submit feedback directly in here while on the call. The same goes for your customer success team. They might be on a call with your customers and want to take notes and want to submit feedback that they directly get in the call in your feedback workspace. So this would be a use case for adding feedback manually. Now, what you can do is just like with any other item that we have already seen in other workspaces, you can add the title, the assignee, the status, and fill in the fields that you have available in your workspace. Now, you might notice that the fields in here are different fields than in, for example, our opportunity workspace that we were looking at in previous videos. The reason for this is that you want different kind of information for feedback, such as who is the company that requested it, who is the contact person, what is their email to keep them up to date, and so on. And of course, you also want to have some fields usually for categorizing your feedback, such as feedback type, customer tiers, labels, and so on. Then you can also add a description, and if you have your product hierarchy activated, you can create parent and children items, as well as dependencies, add attachments, and so on. So this would be adding feedback manually. Now let's talk about more ways of adding feedback. The second way would be using our integrations. We have specific feedback integrations that you will find if you scroll down here into the feedback tool integrations. Currently, we have an intercom integration, a Slack integration, and we also have a Chrome extension. If you want to learn more about how these work, please check out our help center that you can access here, where you will find all the necessary information of how to set everything up. So just go to integrations, and there you will find all our integrations and step-to-step guides on how to set them up. Usually how these integrations work is that you either tag a conversation or just by automatic triggers, they will push a message or information from Intercom or from Slack to your airfocus feedback workspace and will automatically create an item here in the new status of your inbox. This is great and is a really smooth process of collecting feedback from tools that you internally might already be using. Keep tuned on our feedback management integrations because there's more to come, such as our Zendesk integration, our email integration, and so on. Many more to come, so stay tuned. Now, let's talk about more ways of adding feedback. We have talked about manually adding them, automatically adding them by using our integrations, but we could also use our Forms app to collect feedback. So let's take a look at our Forms app. First of all, use case. Let's say I have my, my high-level roadmap here that I want to share with external stakeholders, and I want to receive feedback from them regarding our roadmap that we have here. So for that, I first of all install the Forms app. Now, in the first step, I choose the workspace where I want to receive the feedback that will be submitted by the forms. So I'm choosing the VUM feedback workspace that is dedicated for my feedback. Here, I can choose from optional fields that will be added to the form and can be filled out by the person that is filling out the form. So I want to receive information about the contact person, about their email address, and the company that is submitting that feedback. Here I can choose if only airfocus users, members from this workspace, will be available and allowed to submit a form, or if everyone with access to a share to this link will be able to submit a form. Everyone, including external people that are not airfocus users. So I'm going to activate this as I'm sending out the form to my external stakeholders. I can also customize the buttons in the form. Instead of submit idea, I could call it submit your idea, whatever, and customize this button. Same for the feedback button. Then I can also add a description to the form, which is useful to provide additional information or guidelines on how to submit information. Now let's activate the app. So the Forms app now has been activated. And what we can do now is we can create a share link of this roadmap that we have here. I am going to name this share link stakeholder roadmap for feedback. And I can also set up a password to make it more secure, but this is not necessary for now. So I create the link, and now I can send out the URL or copy the iframe to implement this in our website. I'm going to choose the link, and I'm going to send this out to my external stakeholders. So now our external stakeholders will receive our high-level roadmap, and they take a look, they check out what we are working on, what is new, open and closed, and so on. And now they also, as we have activated the Forms app, they have the possibility to submit an idea. If we click on that, we get the forms that we have just created with feedback subject. So for example, I would like to be able to log in via SSO. I can also add optional, as we made these fields optional, I can add the optional information, and the description would be mandatory. To log in via SSO. I can also add attachments with screenshots, or which is very useful for bugs, for example, and to just provide additional information. And then I submit the idea. Thank you, your input was submitted successfully. So let's check. If we go back to our inbox, we have now received in our new status our SSO login request that has been submitted by using the forms that has been linked to our roadmap by a share link. Let's open this and check. So we now have the information that has been added, the description, the title, and yeah, we now have the feedback that has been submitted from an external stakeholder already in our feedback workspace. Let's go back to the share link, because we also could, for example, open an item, see the details, and now we could also provide additional feedback regarding this specific item that is already on our roadmap. So we just click on give feedback, repeat, filling in the information, and submit it. Once this is done, we go back to our inbox and we have another feedback here. So this is option 2 of submitting feedback. First would be option 3 of how to submit feedback. The first one would be to edit manually. The second one would be using our integrations. The third one would be using the Forms app linked to a share link. Now we also have another option to collect and receive feedback. That would include our portal that we haven't yet talked about. So let's take a quick look at portals. For that, I toggle up our sidebar here, and I will quickly show you an example of a portal. The portal is a public URL accessible from anyone that you can whitelist using your logo, your colors, your pictures, your description to inform everyone about your roadmap, about what you're working on, and to also collect feedback from your stakeholders. As you can see, we have several pages up here, and those pages are being fed by your workspaces, or the information that you have in your workspaces, and information that you, of course, want to publish in your pages. So for example, here we have our roadmap page where people can give feedback, but can also see what we're working on now, next, and later. And you can completely customize the tabs, the pages, and you could even implement an external URL as a page as well. So for example, you want to publish your changelog from Notion. You want to publish that also in your portal, and you can do that by just adding an external URL to your portal. And if we check out this give us feedback here, we will again have the forms that we already set up in our apps. We set up the forms and it is the same form, but now it is not linked to a share link. It is linked to the forms, to the portal, sorry. So again, we can add a title, we can add the importance, we can add a description, and we can give the feedback and submit it and receive it again in our feedback workspace. What is great about this portal is that it is super customizable. So now let's take a look how we can create such a portal. Please be aware that only account admins can add and configure portals. We just click on Add Portal here in the portal section on the sidebar, and we give the portal a name. Keep in mind that this URL has to be unique. Now we upload a logo. We upload a fav icon. The fav icon is what you would see up here in the tab. Keep in mind that this has to be square, so a ratio of 1 to 1. And then we can also choose a primary color, either by choosing here, filling in the code, or just very conveniently using the color picker, choosing the color from our logo, and done. Now we create the portal. As you can see up here, we have now completed step 1 of the 4 steps needed to create a portal. If you set up a portal, I highly suggest you check out these 4 steps that guide you through creating a portal. If you follow all of these steps, it is easy as a pie to create your own portal and really quick, and and it guides you through it. So let's take a quick look. We have created the portal, though it is not live yet. We're not going to set it live until we have everything set up and ready to go. The second step would be adding a page. So now let's add a page. We want to publish our roadmap. So we're going to choose the workspace as an option, as a page type, because we want to take our items from our workspace and publish them in the portal. So we are going to name this roadmap. We again get a URL, and then we select the workspace from which we want to publish information on our portal. I'm going to choose my portfolio roadmap. Now we can set up tabs. The tabs is what you would see here to kind of divide your page into different layers, and the tabs can be fields available in your workspace. So I'm going to choose the roadmap lane. Then I can also set up sections to divide my information horizontally. I can also activate and deactivate the Forms app. If I want to receive feedback with this button here, or also from within the items, I need to activate the Forms app. Keep in mind that the Forms app has to be active in the workspace that you are setting up first, and then you can activate it also in the portal. You can also add a headline and description to provide context to your page visitors. This would be what you see here. Welcome to VUM Portal, and a description about what we are publishing here. We can also activate SEO for adding meta title and meta description and so on. Now let's add this page. The page has already been added. So now we also want to add an external URL where we want to publish our changelog. So we click on URL, we give it a name, and I am quickly going to link the URL. Give me a second. All right, add page. So now we already have added 2 pages. Keep in mind that they're not yet live. We don't want to set them live until everything is set up. As we are currently only at step 2, we're not setting it live yet. So let's check our setup guide here. We have created the portal, we have added a page, or actually 2 pages, and now we have to post our items that we want to publish there. So let's proceed with posting items. For that, I go to my workspace that contains the item that I want to publish, and the workspace that it also is linked to our roadmap page. I can access this here or going back to my sidebar. Now, as we have activated the portal and created a portal, once we open an item, we will see the option now to post the item in our portal. In here, we can add a portal item cover image. We can also add a portal item name, because sometimes the item title that you have internally might differ from the portal item title that is public. The same goes for the description. You might want to have a very detailed description for your colleagues internally, but don't want to publish all of that detailed information and rather a more public description, and you can add this here. Once you have set everything up, just click on Post Item to Portal, activate this, and save. Oh, I forgot the description. Description and save. So now we get this little icon here. This icon currently is orange, which means that, again, this is not live yet because our portal and our pages are not live yet. Once we have set everything live, this will turn into a green globe. So let's go back to our portal setup. And now you will see that we have completed step 3. And the 4th step would now already be to publish our portal. Of course, you usually would repeat the process with all of the items that you want to publish. And then you would set the portal live. To set the portal live, first of all, I go to the general settings and click on Set Portal Live. I want to save that, of course. And now this is green. Let's check if our pages are also live. This has triggered our pages to be set live as well. They are green and live now. Same goes for our changelog. Let's check our item if this has also updated and is live now. Go to Workspace. Let's search for the item that we published previously. Exactly. So now we have a green globe here, and this is showing us that it has been published on the public portal. We can now access the portal from different links. So for example, we can open the portal in here, view portal. We have the logo that we uploaded, the descriptions, the submit idea and feedback buttons. We have the item that we have published. We have our tabs and we have our pages, of course. Now this looks very basic because we haven't yet published a lot, but as you have seen before, this can look very beautiful and has a great design, and is just a great way for your customers to be informed about what is happening and to give feedback. You can also access the portal from, the item that has been published on your portal. You can access this directly with this link here, view item on the roadmap. This link will lead you directly to the item on the roadmap. And this is how to set up a portal. So if you follow the 4-step guide, there is really nothing that can go wrong, and you will have your roadmap and information published in no time. And then you can also receive feedback from there. That feedback, again, will be arriving in our WOM video feedback workspace, right? That we have linked to our Forms app, because the form in here, if we submit ideas or feedback, is the same form that we set up in our Forms app. Just remember that. So now this is our 4th option of how to receive and get feedback into our inbox. Manually, integrations, Forms app, and portal using the Forms app. So there's a lot of different ways of how we can receive feedback, and this is great because it makes it easier for your customers and for your stakeholders to actually provide you with valuable feedback and ideas that you might want to consider. So what happens now once we have a lot of feedback here in our inbox? So usually the next step would be that we go through our feedback and categorize it. We can do this by fields that we have added in our workspace fields. So we can set up what feedback type this is. We can give it a label if this is an improvement, if it is a general feedback, if this is maybe about our mobile app. We could also set up the customer tier. Maybe it's a very big customer that is a tier 1, or maybe it's a smaller customer that is a tier 2. And this way we can very precisely define what kind of feedback this is and where it has been coming from. So now let's take a look at this feedback. Someone would like to have or would like to be able to log in with the Facebook login. I remember that somewhere on our roadmap or in our backlog, we actually already have an item that would solve this problem for this customer. So what I want to do now is I want to create an insight, a link between the feedback and items on our roadmap. How can I do that? We can do that by using our Insights app, the last app that we haven't yet discussed in the onboarding, in the getting started videos. So let's take a look at Insights. First, we have to install it. I'm going to use the current workspace as my feedback workspace, just for the reason because I am already currently in my feedback workspace. Now, the next step would be to choose the workspace to which I want to create insights. So linking my feedback to my opportunities. I want to do that with my opportunities workspace. I can also, of course, add multiple workspaces. I can also customize the insight card details. This will be for selecting the fields that should be displayed in the details section about this insight. So I want to show the company, the contact, and the email. And now I'm going to activate the app. So once this has been activated, we now have this Insights button here that allows you to add an insight. We can do this by either selecting all the text or highlighting the important part that we want to link to our opportunity. Now I can search from within my VUM video opportunities workspace, which is the workspace I'm linking to, I can search in the items there. Let's search for Facebook. We already have an item on our in our opportunities called Facebook authentication. So I'm going to link this and create an insight to this item. Now we have created the insight. It will provide us with a direct link to the item in our opportunities workspace. Let's take a look. This is now our insights card where we have the information and we can directly jump to the original item that we have linked to. As you can see, we have now arrived in our VUM video opportunities workspace where we have all our opportunities. And here we have the linked item. In here, you will now also see that we have the insights linked. Let's take a look. Now we have here the card with the information, company, contact, and email. Those are the fields that we have chosen to be shown in this card. We can directly access the feedback with the direct link again, showing us all the information and a link to jump to the feedback workspace and the actual feedback item from which the insights has been created. This makes it very easy to have all the necessary information at hand and understand where this feedback is coming from, who it has been requested by, and so on. Now, I want to go back to my opportunities workspace to see what else has changed there. Let's jump again to our linked item on our opportunities workspace with the insights linked. And let's take a look at our table. We can see that now we have an additional column in here called insights. Our linked item, let's take a look, is here, the Facebook authentication. Now this has an insight score here, showing us the number of how many insights have been created. Let's say, for example, 10 of our stakeholders have requested the Facebook authentication. This would mean that we have 10 times the feedback, I want Facebook authentication in here. And we would have repeated the insights linking process for each of those items, and we would have created 10 insights. In this case, it would show 10 here in the insight score. And this would tell us, hey, this is really super important to our customers because 10 customers or 10 stakeholders have requested the Facebook authentication. So we might want to take a look at this or take a closer look. So yeah, this again will show us all the information. And we can even go one step further and be more customer centric and automate this by choosing to have the insight score as a criteria in our prioritization framework. If we set this up, our insight score will directly influence the priority score, meaning that the feedback that is being submitted from your stakeholders via the forms, via the portal, will directly influence the outcome or the given priority score. Thus, it will directly influence the decisions you're making based on your prioritization score and the priority chart. So how can we do this? As you might remember from our previous video talking about prioritization, part 2 of getting started with airfocus, we can set up our prioritization framework in the priority ratings app. If we want to add the insight score, we can just do this very easily by clicking on Add Criteria and choosing the insight score as a criteria. Keep in mind In order to be able to do this, we first have to set a maximum value for the field. We can directly do this from within here by going to field settings, setting a maximum. I'm going to set a maximum of 100. Once I have updated this, I can just quickly go back and implement the insight score as a criteria in our framework. I can also give it a weight. Now I can update this, and this will make the insights that we receive influence the prioritization score, the priority score. So as you can see here, before I think we had 72, now we have 68 influenced by our insights score. So this kind of closes the loop of the whole process from feedback to prioritization and road mapping, because then using the priority score and the priority chart, if you remember, can be used to create and plan accordingly and to create your roadmaps. So this closes the whole circle of from feedback to prioritization and road mapping. If you have any additional questions about this, you can of course always reach out to us here in the chat from directly within your airfocus team, or you can also check out our help center, and you can also check out what we have released recently and check out our own roadmap in our own public portal, where you will be informed about what we have launched, what we're working on now, next, and what we're considering. And feel free to also provide us with feedback. We are super keen to hear about what you think about airfocus. We are happy to receive suggestions. And yeah, let us hear what you think. And we will then work with your feedback in the same way that I have shown you in this video, by having our inbox, by categorizing it, by prioritizing it, and then creating our roadmap. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and for staying until the very end. I hope that the Getting Started video series has been helpful to you and has helped you with setting everything up. If you still have questions, just reach out. Otherwise, I wish you a great airfocus journey, and yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day, and bye.